when I got married in 1961, everything was Mrs. Stanley Green. If I had, there weren't Visa and MasterCard credit cards, but there were credit cards from Lord & Taylor and Macy's and Sears, all those kinds. All those department stores had credit cards, and every one of mine said Mrs. Stanley Green on it. It was like I was just an appendage. And I remember that because that really bugged me. Like, it didn't count. And even Fox Meadow Tennis Club that we belonged to for 30 years said, when I guess when I got Noreen and Ed into it, it said, how many children does he have? That really, now they're better. I mean, now it's not that way, but Betty Friedan did a lot for women, and then Gloria Steinem and some of the others. And what was nice for my generation is we could sort of pick and choose the things we liked about it, so that you could, and I still guess I do that some when I go put big cartons in the car, take them to FedEx, and when I get there I say I need help. I still like to be helpless when there's an opportunity.
You should be helped with big cartons.
I know, but there's no one else to do it, so I have to do it at home.
So I guess that's been one big change is women's
have been
rights.
Accepted as pretty much, I would say, in my lifetime, it's been a big change. Women have been accepted. There were no women doctors, dentists, lawyers, and maybe no is not quite right, but very few, because I think Mom and Dad had a friend who was a lawyer, a woman. But pretty much they were a big exception. And even when we graduated from college, there was an article in our Smith Quarterly recently about some woman who went to work for IBM. She got a job there, and when she got pregnant, she had to leave because you couldn't be pregnant and work there. So she started her own company and has been hugely successful. Smith Women for you.
But if women weren't doctors, dentists, lawyers, I mean, what did women do after?
When I got out of college, women had three choices. You could be a secretary, a teacher, or a nurse. And after college, I had there were four of us rooming together. I was a teacher, and Joanne and Noreen were secretaries. Auburn was not a nurse. She worked at Lord & Taylor's in the executive training program, so that was something you could do. You could work in a department store.
But there were pretty limited options.
Limited, I'd say so.
Yeah.
The object wasn't to get a job. The object was to get a husband. And if you didn't find one in college, then you got a job until you found one after college.
So pretty much everyone you know, after they got married, they stopped working?
Yeah. And had children. That was your next. We didn't really have choices. We went to high school, then we went to college. No one said, do you want to go to college? We went to college. After college, you got married, and if you didn't have someone to marry right then, that was your objective, next objective, and you worked while you were looking. And then after you got married, you had children, and it wasn't, do you want to have children, or do you think you'd like to be a mother? You had children, and actually when we had children, the acceptable number was 3 or 4. And actually Dad said he'd like to have 6, and I figured we only had 1 or 2 at that time. I wasn't going to argue about it, and after we had 3, he never mentioned it again. So.
The fantasy wasn't quite the reality.
Yeah, right. One of the times it was wise not to argue it.